This potential for people using AI to think for them and then therefore losing their cognitive ability to think for themselves is quite scary. And I have a personal experience with this that really makes it quite scary for me, maybe more than anybody else looking at this video. When I was in college, I worked at the railway in Vancouver. I was a coach cleaner on the passenger trains in Vancouver. I clean toilets for a living, so if ever come across as high and mighty, you need to know that I've cleaned toilets. And much of the crew who were working with me were people who were middle-aged or older who've been doing this for a long time. And at the time, I was taking night school at university and, picking up some courses and having active discussions that made us think and solve problems and think through problems. And the people I was working with weren't having that experience. Now, give these guys a break. These guys came from rough backgrounds. They were lucky if both their parents were sober at the same time. Many were lucky if they knew both their parents at all. So I came from a point of view of privilege compared to these people. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying, comparatively speaking, they're living a pretty tough life. And I wanted to have some conversation about things I've been discussing at school. And it was like these guys had no reference points. They couldn't participate in the conversation, not only because they didn't know the material, which I would be more than glad to share with them. They didn't have the practice of discussing things abstractly and thinking through problems. Their lives had become nothing but practical lives, which, is okay, but it's kind of sad compared to people's potential if they practice things like cognitive thinking. I also worked with someone when I worked in retail. I have worked in retail, stocking shelves and sweeping floors before. And there was a lady who was a very pleasant person, did an excellent job in the flower department one spring, and she was hired temporarily for the seasonal job, and they promoted her to a full-time job. Couldn't teach her anything. She was about 30 years old, and she had lost the ability to learn. You'd show her how to do something for the afternoon, and she'd be getting it by 3 or 4 o'clock, and she seemed to be on her way and doing very well and so on. Next morning, hadn't the faintest idea what we talked about the day before. Couldn't remember a thing. And it was such a shame. That's so young. But she had lost the ability to learn because she had not been practicing learning. Please, I beg you, practice learning every day. Practice cognitive thinking, thinking through problems. And thinking through problems that don't always have a neat solution. Puzzles are fun. I do the crossword puzzle every day. I do the spelling bee and I do the Wordle, and they're fun. But I'm not fooling myself into thinking they're a substitute for cognitive practice, because the real problems I deal with at work don't have clean solutions. Sometimes they have 2 or 3 solutions, which all sound good, but you never know which one's going to be the best one until you pick one and go with it. And then maybe something unintended will happen and spoil that decision and make it look like a bad decision. You never know, but that's real life, and that's what you have to deal with. And what the skill that I bring to the table is when these good decisions go bad, I know what to do next. And that's from experience and practice. Please practice and build up your experience.